Libya, where the U.S. and its allies appear poised to take military action on the heels of a UN resolution earlier this evening, imposing a no-fly zone over the country and authorizing, quote, all necessary measures to protect civilians. Only hours earlier, Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi had vowed to show no mercy to protesters, saying he would crush the rebellion with a final assault. Just moments ago, ABC's Christiane Amanpour spoke to Gaddafi's son, Saif. Christiane joins me now. Christiane, you were just in Libya. What can you tell us?
Well, I think that they are bracing for military intervention. But when I reached Saif al-Islam, he was defiant with their customary bravado. Saif al-Islam, Colonel Gaddafi's second son, is also his closest political advisor. He was as defiant when I reached him on the phone tonight as when I first met him in Tripoli last month.
Nobody is leaving this country.
Are you hiding? Are you worried?
Hiding from whom?
Well, as you know, the United Nations has taken a resolution that would potentially involve airstrikes against your father's air defenses and various military emplacements.
Anyway, we are in our country with our people, and we are not afraid.
What is your father's reaction, your reaction to this resolution that's just been taken?
First of all, it was unfair, because as you know from the beginning, we proved to everybody that there was no airstrikes against civilians.
He claimed that the city of Benghazi, in the hands of the opposition, was full of people waiting for the Gaddafis to come back. People in Benghazi are cheering this United Nations resolution because they're afraid of your father's forces.
Of course not. Okay. We are receiving every day on our TV hundreds of calls from Benghazi. Every day people are crying, saying, please come and liberate us from this nightmare, from those terrorists. So people are not happy there.
Tonight in Benghazi, they are celebrating. Overjoyed that the United Nations has finally voted to impose a no-fly zone over the territory and the freedom they are fighting for.
This resolution demands an immediate ceasefire and a complete end to violence and attacks against civilians.
This evening, the UN Security Council voted in favor of a resolution that would take all measures necessary to protect civilians.
The resolution is adopted.
It's a move that the forces opposed to Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi have been begging the international community for weeks now.
He killed our brothers. He killed our families.
The uprising against the dictator who has ruled Libya for 42 years began last month and spread rapidly through the east of the country, with the opposition taking control of the second largest city, Benghazi, and coming within striking distance of Tripoli, Gaddafi's capital. But after the east rapidly fell to the opposition, Gaddafi launched a counteroffensive, leaving him now on the outskirts of Benghazi. But tonight, things are at a turning point, and Colonel Gaddafi could face international intervention. Earlier today, he took to the radio to warn the opposition in Benghazi of a looming offensive. We are coming, he said. We are looking for the traitors and shall have no mercy nor compassion. His son and close political advisor, Saif al-Islam, warned the international community. Military operations are over, he said. Within 48 hours, everything will be finished. Our forces are almost in Benghazi. Whatever the decision, it'll be too late. Whether or not it's come in time, the UN resolution means that a no-fly zone will be established by neutralizing Gaddafi's air defenses. It also authorized force to be used against Gaddafi's troops if they appear to be threatening civilians. While the US voted in favor of the resolution, President Obama is uneasy about using force in another Arab country, while the US is already fighting 2 wars in the Middle East.
I'm not a fan of foreign intervention, but in this case, where you have a leader who's been suffocating his country for 42 years and slaughtering Libyans, especially over the past few weeks, it's absolutely necessary for the international community to take the side of Libyan revolutionaries.
When I spoke to Colonel Gaddafi 2 weeks ago in his stronghold of Tripoli, he was adamant that he had not lost control, despite the fact that then the entire east coast of Libya had fallen to the rebels. He insisted that he would prevail.
No demonstration at all in the streets. No, no one against us. Against me for what? Because I am not president.
But then...
They love me, all my people with me. They love me, all.
But if they do love you...
They will die to protect me, my people.
Colonel Gaddafi, the President of the United States, the leaders of Britain and other leaders are calling on you to step down, to leave Libya, to leave your position of power. Will you do that?
Who would leave his homeland? Why do I leave my homeland? Why do I leave Libya?
They say that they've done it because you have ordered force against your people, shooting of protesters.
This is lying, 100%.
Last week, President Obama had tough words for Gaddafi.
We are slowly tightening the noose on Gaddafi.
But it was Britain and France that led the charge on the no-fly zone.
The US has sided with the dictators against the people. The mistake is being repeated again and again. And I think it's very important for President Obama, for, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was in Egypt yesterday and youth revolutionaries did not want to meet her. Why? Because Hillary Clinton and the US administration have a terrible reputation in the region.
Now, with little choice other than to watch a bloodbath in Benghazi, the US has agreed to act. And so the real question is the US and its allies going to just have a stalemate around Benghazi, or will it try to pursue and end Gaddafi's rule all the way to Tripoli?
So, Christian, as you look at it tonight, does it seem as if the US is about to be engaged in another ground war?
Well, the UN resolution wording explicitly says no occupation force. But again, that does leave some wiggle room because it depends on NATO or others to determine what occupation means. But obviously they don't want to go in that regard, but they are leaving themselves some wiggle room.
Any possibility that Gaddafi leaves voluntarily?
Cynthia, from what he said and from what his son said again tonight, the answer is no.
And the final aim of this UN resolution is what?
Well, is it to just try to stop Gaddafi at this last-ditch effort to try to stop him going into Benghazi, or is it, as the President of the United States say, to make Gaddafi go? He said Gaddafi has to go. That is really the question at the moment.
Thanks.